Welcome to the Your Leadership Legacy podcast. My name is Tina Paulus Kraus, and I'm so excited to bring you this next podcast dedicated to you high performers out there who want to reinvent yourself, reinvent your business, maybe your career, all of it. This podcast is all about being dedicated to transformation and being the best possible leader of yourself and others that you can be in order to create a legacy that lives on. Welcome to Your Leadership Legacy. My name is Tina Paulus Kraus. I am the founder and CEO of True You Teams. And here we go. Hey everyone, it's Tina Paulus Kraus, and I am so excited to welcome you to another episode of Your Leadership Legacy. I am super excited because today I have one of my dearest friends with us, Rhema. Hi, Rhema.
Hi.
Rhema is powerful. Rhema is courageous. Rhema is leadership, right? So when I think of leadership, Rhema, I think of you, and I can't wait to have you introduce yourself and just tell people about your story and your leadership journey. And that's what today is all about. So I would love for you to introduce yourself and tell everyone who's listening about how awesome you are.
Oh my gosh, that's a huge setup.
It's my job.
That's awesome. Yes, and thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity, for the time with you. I love it. Always love spending time with you. And let's see, introducing myself, Rhema Flowers, holistic coach, speaker, trainer, emotional connection trainer, and just all around funny girl.
Yeah, you are. We laugh. I think we get together and we laugh more than we do anything.
More than anything else. And we still get stuff done.
And we get shit done. Exactly. Yes. And anybody who's watching us right now versus listening to us, we're not in the same spot. I know it's a little confusing, but there's a little bit of a story behind our background. So I would love it if Rhema was just sitting right here next to me. So the next best thing is for us to have the same background.
Yes. This is how we have fun. This is how we have fun and get shit done. That's what we do.
Have fun and get shit done.
Yes,
exactly.
And so,
yeah. So here is why I start this off with you and talking about how powerful and how courageous you are. Because I met you when you were living in San Francisco.
LA.
LA. In LA. I'm sorry, LA.
Yeah.
And since then, we've been in many containers together, a lot of work, a lot of collaboration together. And you've just had this huge life shift. And so I wanted to bring you on because I think that sometimes in life, we get held back from doing what we really want to do because of all of the reasons why not. And you literally went bink, 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 bink on all those reasons why not and made huge moves. And so I want you to tell everybody about like what did you do? What was a big leap that you took?
I took a giant leap of faith mostly, but I took a giant leap. And during the crazy 2020 year of the pandemic, I moved from LA to Maui. And I'm still here in Maui 2 years later. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I wake up every morning and I think, oh my gosh, I'm winning. I'm like, I am here. Oh my gosh, I'm still here. I'm still on vacation. Woo.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's what it was. When you left, you're like, I'm going to go to Maui for a week or two.
Yeah.
And then a week or two passed. You were still there, and then you were still there. I just like talk to us about what happened in your head. Like what was going on during that time when you just went on vacation and then decided to move there?
It's so funny because, you hear stories of people that went on vacation and stayed. They go to Costa Rica or they go to, Jamaica or whatever, and they go on vacation and they stay. And I always would wonder, like, how do they do that?
Right?
How does one do that? And, and then I created it myself. And so, yes, I originally came here on vacation. I wanted to just kind of get away from everything that was happening, which is so funny because like, it's literally happening in the entire world. But I wanted to change my surroundings. And one of the things I kept thinking was like, if I've got a shelter, if I've got to stay in one place, wouldn't it be great to stay in somewhere beautiful and warm and, all these things. And so I'm like, it would be great to be in Maui. And so I had gotten that question from some mentors, people that I, looked up to, trusted, believed in. And they were, they asked, what would you do next if you could do anything? I'm like, oh, it'd be great to just sit on a beach and just think and just like let go and just, have the wind blow through my mind and just, take like a pause in life. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, well, why, what's preventing you from creating that? I'm like, I got sponsorabilities.
Right.
Like you can't just get up and I mean, like, places are shut down, just money. Like, how do you, I didn't,
everything was saying no. Everything was saying no.
Everything. So if you're listening or watching us and you're if you're thinking like, oh, what would keep me from just getting up tomorrow? Because I left within 10 days of that call, of that question, of that conversation. Within 10 days, I landed in Maui. So if you're thinking like, if someone asked you, what would keep you from just dropping everything and going? All of that. All of the above. I thought of all of that. Now I got a son here, my family, on and on and on. And I put all of that down and I still went. And, my mentors, my friends, they were saying, how can you be inside of possibility? Well, the way I could be in possibility, I thought, I let my guard down, so yes, all of those considerations existed. And I stepped inside of, and what if like inside of all those considerations, what could I still create that? Well, yeah, I could. And so from there, it's like, and there's the ... I let the ... go because I already knew that story. I already know like, okay, yeah. And then there's, what if, and how are you going to, and I already know that.
Yeah.
Right. So I stepped inside of, well, yeah, I could make it happen. And so I made the decision and I chose to.
Yeah. Which is so amazing. So in those moments, because you talk about like one side of all the reasons why not, and the other side of like, let's look at possibility. What are the possibilities? Mm-hmm. And so in those moments, like what was really running through your mind? Because I'm sure that you were in fear, right? I mean, what were all the things that were popping up that you were like, nope, and getting through during those moments?
Money, like you're going to just go to Hawaii. Hearing people say like, isn't Hawaii expensive? And how are you going to pay for this? And how are you going to pay for that? And where are you going to stay? And blah, 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 blah. We were literally in the middle of the pandemic, like the world was shut down. There was, travel. And I had read that, Maui is closed. And so I'm like, well, how can I travel? I literally cannot travel right now.
And was that fact?
All seems legit.
Yeah. Yeah. And none of it was fact.
None of it was fact. It was all that what was out there, like, and I'll address a couple of them, but like the fact that Maui was closed. I read articles. I went online. Maui's closed. Maui's closed. Maui's closed. I called the airline. I bought a ticket. I got on a plane. I got off of a plane. No one stopped me.
Nobody was waiting to take you to jail or anything.
No one's like,
yeah.
Maui's closed. No. So if I had listened to all of that, then I wouldn't have gone. The other thing, where are you going to stay and how are you going to, I had a friend that lived here and she, for the last 2 years, she moved 2 years before I did. And she'd been giving me a hard time about, why aren't you coming? Come, stay with me. Come. Right. And so I called her up the next day after the conversation. I'm like, are you serious? Like, do you really want me to come? And she's like, oh my God, how many times do I have to say this?
Yeah. Right.
And so I took that to like, we have a lot of opportunity out there. We have opportunities, we have resources, we have support. And how often do we push it away? No, I don't want to be a burden. Right. I don't want to be, because that's what I was thinking. And meanwhile, she's thinking, what the heck? Why won't my friend come? I have invited you literally, 15 times. Mm-hmm. She actually sat me down and like, you are my friend. Why are you not coming to visit me? And I'm like, I'll get there. She's just being nice. All the things that we say that we push away the support. And so when I made the decision, I decided, okay, line up some stuff. Well, she said this. So I called her again. she totally rolled her eyes like, oh my God, what do I have to do for you to realize, like, I'm inviting you to come? And so that was all part of it. It's like,
yeah, it's so beautiful. And so if we talk about the possibility, because what I want to talk about next is everything that you've created since you've been there. Like, you're creating this magic there, right? And I just love watching your journey. So once you got there and you decided, okay, this is where I'm going to be, from a leadership perspective, from a self, like staying out of the fear and staying out of the drift and just standing in your leadership, how did all of this evolve for you?
from it being vacation to, hey,
Yeah.
I live in Maui now.
Oh, and I'm gonna start a business too, by the way.
My gosh.
Yeah.
I in another conversation with her, it was time for me to go back. I bought my return ticket. Like, I had it in hand. And, because she'd been telling me, like, you're going to stay. I'm like, no, I'm not going to stay. You're going to stay. I'm not going to stay. Bought my ticket, didn't tell her. So, like, she and I are sitting down having the conversation. I'm like, listen, I bought the ticket. So, in 5 days, I'm going to be on a plane. She's like, what do you mean? She's like, what are you going to go back and do? I'm like, take care of all, everything that I named off. She's like, you can do that here. You can do that here. You work remotely. You can do that here. Oh, your son is an adult. He, actually, my son ended up moving with me. So
I know, right? I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
But we shared a house and whatever. And when I called him to say, oh, I don't know, I'm thinking, but because I wasn't ready to acknowledge it myself.
Right.
And as I'm telling him the story, and I'm like, these are the conversations that are going on. He's like, if you're going, I'm going, because I get to have a change. I want a change in my life. And I'm like, and this is my son. He doesn't do anything spontaneously, nothing spontaneously. No, that's foreign to him. So for him to say that, I was like, oh my gosh, what clicked in my mind at that moment is that there's an opportunity going on that even he sees that I'm not seeing. And I'll be doggone if he was going to come here and have fun, and I'll be like in LA calling him, and he's going to be like, yeah, I'm in Maui. I'm like, and that I think was the turning point for me, that I started like, oh, wait, there's something going on here. Because even as I tell the story, people are like, oh my God, why wouldn't you move? Yeah. What do you mean that you were back and forth? Why wouldn't you go? But it's all the fears that we build up. And
it's not that easy. It's not that easy when we're so ingrained in that programming of feeling like, well, this is where I'm at, this is what it is. And we're held back by all those limitations and all the reasons why not.
Yes.
And so what I saw you do is I saw you open up to all the possibility. I saw you open up to what you really wanted.
Yes.
And where you really wanted to go, and your family followed suit. And it was just really, really it's been this beautiful thing that you've created. So tell us about your daily life right now. What's going on in your daily life right now? Because I know you got big things. You've got a big vision. You got big things coming up. So share with us.
And you know what? And it's been a magical journey. And the journey has been one day at a time. I've created this amazing life here on Maui, one day at a time. I didn't have this long-term plan because I wasn't going to step into this. Yeah. So I didn't have this long-term plan. And, we started like, okay, well, let's look for a place to live. If I was going to live in Maui, the next thing I would do would be look for a place to live. So that's what we did. And then, okay, let's look for transportation. We bought a car. And then, I had friends.
Bought a really cool car. You bought a Jeep.
Yes.
Really cool.
You live on Maui, you definitely want a Jeep.
Exactly.
And I had a girlfriend come to me, later on that year and say, you know what, there's a yoga studio for sale. I know you owned one in LA. I want to step into this, but I don't know how. Would you consider coming into this with me? And I'm like, no, pandemic, blah, again, right?
All the reasons why not.
Why would I own a brick and mortar? Blah, 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 blah. You bring up all of it's almost like it's rote. It's like, you're saying no. So this is all my resistance. And so she called up some other friends and, she enrolled another friend of mine. And then this person called me and said, you're already a no. Why don't you do this? Why don't you just go? And this one friend, she was a friend of a friend. I had never even met her. I'd known her and we'd done Zoom together. We'd talked on the phone. I'd never met her in person. So he said, you've never met her. You haven't seen the studio. You're going to want to practice somewhere anyway. You're already a no. Go meet her, say hello. We already know you don't want to be involved. So I'm like, okay.
That was
genius. My guard is down. It was brilliant. My guard is down. I'm already a no. I don't have to fight anyone. I'm going to go and visit a studio. How long can I stay there? The minute I walked through the door, I was in love, number one. And I even heard a voice in me say, the things that you want to build here can be built through this. Because when I moved, it was my son and I, but there was not family and community. And that's, I wanted family, I wanted community, I wanted adventures. I want to enjoy the beauty of the island. And I want friends to do that with. And so I'm like, wouldn't it be great if I had like a group of people I could do this with, and I can like go on hikes and, go snorkeling and paddling and just enjoy. And that was the voice was like, here it is. All these people here want to do that. You love yoga, and that's it. That was all she wrote. And less than 60 days later, we signed, and it was. Woo! Woo! One thing I noticed is like when your resistance is down, like our walls are up. Mm-hmm. Our walls are up. We're protecting ourselves. No, because this didn't work out last time, and that didn't work. And remember when you wanted to do this and. But when we bring our walls down, when we open up to possibility, when we're in the surrender, in the allowance, like, yeah, might not work out that way. And you know what? This is a new day. You're a new person. You're not the person you were 5 years ago when it didn't work out, or 2 years ago when it didn't work out, or that, you are a different person now, and you come with different experience and different perspective. And so that's one of the things that is, as I look back, I can see that.
Yeah. It's the exact reason, other than the fact that I adore you and love you, that I wanted to have you on the show, right? Because every single day in conversations, whether it's coaching or training or whatever it is, I hear people tell me all the reasons why they can't.
Yeah.
And it's an immediate go-to. Why can't I? Why can't I? Why can't I?
Yeah.
And what I heard you say is that it was easy. What I heard you say is that when we let go of control, it gets easy because we allow our intuition to let us flow where we're supposed to be.
Yes.
And that's what yoga is, kind of, right? Like it's just so relative to yoga.
Mm-hmm. It's a flow. It's a surrender. It's a let go. It's like, I know what the path of me saying, no, I can't. I know where that's going to lead me. Yeah. I was sitting in it.
Yeah.
Before I went to Maui, I was sitting all in it, and I was, I was like, I want something different, but yet I didn't want to pick up and do something different. It takes, if we want to create something different and amazing, it takes us to do something different and amazing.
Yeah.
And this was very different and amazing. And, it takes different habits. So if I've continued to practice the same habits and to tell the same stories, it's rote because you're practicing it over and over in your head. Nope, can't do that. Nope, can't do that. We're not even looking for the possibilities anymore. We're just used to saying, no, I can't afford it. I can't do it. And once we put it down for a minute, I even say, like, when I start a yoga class, I invite people. I'm like, I know you came here with, all the baggage and all the shit and all the worry and all that. Put it down at the door. Leave it at the door for a second. It'll be there when you're done. It'll be there when you're done. But step inside of here into something different, into something new, and allow, and a surrender, and allow the yoga to open up and show to you whatever you get to see.
Yeah. And being aware of it, right? I mean, I think for all the reasons when we say no, it's because we're scared, we're fearful, we don't want to look bad, we're scared somebody's going to say no, we're scared, like all these things that are programmed into us that just come naturally.
Yes.
So if you're out there listening, I want you to think about, what does it look like in your life when you just open up to possibility? When you just take some time to like cut out the noise and listen to inside and listen to what's really calling you and what's really driving you. And let go of all the reasons why not.
Yes.
I mean, you went into possibility. You went into, how can I make this work? What does this look like when I open up to it? And I think it's
like the what if.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay, that was the possibility. It's like, okay, well, what if I stepped into this? What would I do next? Just that next step. What would I do next? Well, the first thing I would do, and then I chose to step into that. And then it was just like one step, even still now, 2 years later, I literally am still like, okay, what would I do next? You know, as I look at my 2023, this is my jam, you know, time. I love like goals and things like that. But, you know, as I look at 2023 and what I want to create, what would I want to create next? If I could create anything,
what are you going to create?
Spend it. Oh my gosh, so much wonderfulness. I want to.
Get you light up.
I know, right? Taking advantage of so much more of the beauty of this island and the healingness and sharing it with others. I feel like I want to like take someone by the hand and be like, hey, check this out. I've learned so much about this island. I mean, this little, I live on a rock in the middle of the Pacific. Like if you look it up on a map, you've got a dog paw, you know, and it's a sacred healing place.
Yeah.
I mean, for whales come here to have their young and raise their young and go off, you know, I mean, like, think about it. When you know, those of us that have kids or have raised kids, when we think about having kids and planning a family, we want the best neighborhoods. We move. We physically move because we want to. I don't want to raise my kids here in the city. I want to go in the suburbs. I want to raise my kids, you know, near my family. I'm going to go back home, and you know, we make these decisions based on that. The whales do the same thing. They come here. There is a sacredness. There's a healing in this place, and I've learned so much about that. That you know. So you asked me like what I want to create next year. I want to create bringing people here for just that, healing and, you know, surrendering and allowing and, you know, connecting, the intimacy with themselves, connecting with themselves. That's what I want to create.
That's what you get to create.
I get to create that because you know what, then I get to live it even more.
Totally. You get to live it every day,
I get to live it every day.
Which is really amazing. I think you and I get to plan a retreat out there for.
Oh my gosh. It's just, there's so many opportunities in Maui, on Maui, because there's not as many, it's not the mainland. So it's not like there's everything. I mean, like on Maui, we've got one Target, we've got one Costco. Like, and it's in a town called Kahului, which we refer to as town. So if you live anywhere else, if you're like, oh, I'll meet you in town, or I'm going to town today, like that is the entire island. We go to town.
Yeah. You said something originally I want to come back to. You said that you were an emotional connection coach. Are those the right words that you used?
Emotional connection trainer. Yes.
An emotional connection trainer. Tell us more about, because when you talk about Maui and you talk about healing and you talk about all that, I want you to bring that together with you and coaching, because you are like literally one of the best coaches I know. So talk about how those two things fit together.
Oh my gosh, it's such great. Yeah. Thank you. I received that. So yes, leadership, and you and I met through leadership. And so that's amazing. And I absolutely love leadership for the friendships and the community that I've been able to create there. I also, on this island, got an opportunity. I started working with a woman. She wanted me to help her, you know, look at her business and help her build her business. And the more she talked to me, she's like, you would be an amazing emotional connection trainer. And this is what she does. She trains people to emotional connection is all about understanding your emotions when they come up, what it means, the physiology that's going on in your body, how to handle it, how to deal with it, how to talk about it, you know, with other people. You know, so for instance, you get triggered, you know, what does that mean? What does it mean getting triggered? What are the emotions that are coming up that are associated with that? What does that mean for you? What does that mean for the person that triggered you? Because no one actually does it, but right. And how do you repair relationships, have these tough conversations, things like that. So she worked with me, mentored me one-on-one for all of last year, and got me certified. I'm a certified emotional connection trainer. And I use that in my coaching. It is, I talk about, self-care, and I talk about retreats and self-care. Emotional connection is a big part of that, because like being good to yourself and understanding the emotions that are coming up for you, and being able to say no and being okay with it, and all that is part of self-care. So
it's all part of self-care. And I love that you're combining it with healing, because it's the healing side of it as well, right? Yes. So talk about the healing side of it, and the sacredness of where you're at and why that matters.
Oh my gosh. The healing and the self-care. I firmly believe that the craziness in the world right now, and there's much of it, it's on purpose. There are institutions, huge institutions, that get to crumble and get to be rebuilt. Maybe education's one, maybe politics, right? There's huge,
lots of broken systems right now.
Exactly. And we get to rebuild those systems. Mm-hmm. And it's going to take us at our best to rebuild those systems. And I believe, I just have a heart for women, especially like high performing women. I think like that comes from my corporate days and, the things that we do. But I believe that there's a women's movement right now that's happening, and it's happening for a purpose, and it's happening for a reason. And there's it's no coincidence happening right now in history. We are living through, and I'm channeling my mom, because my mom thinks like everything. My mom's a teacher, a retired teacher. And she's like, we're living history right now. But we truly are living history. We're going to be reading about these times when we are rebuilt these systems that are crumbling. So when I see, this is going on and that's going on, my sister's in Iran right now, right? And all of the things that are going on there, it's like, yes, because it is time. That system wasn't working for a long time. It wasn't working. And so, yes, what's happening now has to happen, gets to happen, in order for it to crumble and be rebuilt into something that can support us. Yeah, and when we sit back and we are holding back and we're small because, what are people going to think? And I don't know if I can, and I'm not big enough, and I'm not strong enough, and I'm not, and we're not in our power, we're not in our greatness, then we are not contributing
part
to
of the solution.
Rebuilding. Yeah. But when you have self-care, when you have your days that you're winning, that you're on it, you feel like your hair is popping, your makeup, you feel good, you had your juice. I mean, whatever it takes for you, and you're on top of the world. It's like you have your super suit on. Yeah. You're like, yes, bring it on, world. Pandemic, pshaw, I've got, right? It's like you're wearing a super suit. Mm-hmm. So if I can support people in putting on their own super suits, whatever that looks like, we got this.
There you go. It's what's so beautiful about that is that super suit, after you get through all the healing, the super suit is what helps. Like for me, it's what helped control those emotions. So when something would quote unquote trigger me, I'm like, what? and so learning the healing. So when we talk about healing all the time, the healing is learning how to address that trigger. Like I see you trigger, but you're not going to get me like you got me before.
Exactly. Because now you've got tools. Exactly. And your biggest tool is being aware that you've got tools.
Exactly.
Like you just said, I see you trigger. There you are, because it's going to continue to come up.
Totally.
Right? It's not, it doesn't mean that it stops.
Yeah.
But it means that, I see you.
Yeah. Somebody honked at me in traffic today and I immediately wanted to flip them off. I'm like, nope, not leadership. Tools. Nope, you don't get to get me today.
Exactly, right? Yeah. It's like, nope, I don't get to react. That's not who I am, how I be, and I don't have to, and it doesn't mean this, right? We want to flip them off, or we want to react a certain way because in the past, we have made it mean something. They're honking at me. I've done something wrong. But it doesn't mean that. Yeah. It doesn't mean that someone yells at you or says, they flip you off. Yeah. And you realize that has nothing to do with me. That tells more about them and their day. Absolutely. And what's going on in their life than it ever has to do with me.
Yeah. And I think where I feel
huge tool.
It's a huge tool. And where I feel the growth in that is like when those things happen and I'm smiling on the other end of it instead of being mad and upset. Right. And I'm like, oh, leadership. Oh, I handled that this time. Oh, nope, you don't get to get me. And so it's a lot of hard work, right? Whatever to get there, but exactly what you're talking about, healing in sacred space, taking time out, putting yourself as priority and saying, no, for me, it was, I'm done with my own bullshit. Like I'm done with my bullshit. I'm tired of it already. Let's figure this out.
Yes. So, and that is even part of the healing. Like, I mean, I'm on this big 30-day cleanse right now and detox and whatever, and so is that yes, that's healing. That's a type of healing. There's like different types of healing. And again, recognizing that there's some things that you get to put down. There's some things that we've been carrying around and shamefully and whatever. And if we get to understand what went on or what was going on emotionally for us, even physically, whatever was going on, and get to be like, oh, it has nothing to do with me. It doesn't make me less of anything, less of a person, less of a woman, less of a leader, less of a, human being. It doesn't mean what I have made it mean all of these years. And you can release that and let that go. That's the healing.
Yeah, that's freedom.
Yes.
That's freedom right there.
Right? And that opens up so many things. We weren't walking around with this guilt and shame on our shoulders that we've put on ourselves, that's just weighing us down. And we can lift that and be light and free. Oh my gosh, we become unstoppable at that point.
Right. And imagine if everybody on the planet did that. That's what fixes the system. So taking us kind of full circle back to that, like that's what fixes the systems. When we each individually rise so strong in our own leadership.
Yes.
So we don't get triggered and we can actually move forward with positive change. So
yes. We don't get triggered and we understand that is that person's journey and we can have compassion.
Yeah.
We were like, okay, you're hurting. I got it. Okay. And it doesn't bring us down. That's where, one by one, that's how we rebuild the systems. We rebuild ourselves.
Yeah. Woo! We get deep, Rhema. We get deep. So here's what
we got deep quickly.
I know, it's true. So here's what I would love is for you are such a powerful coach. I said that already. And I know that you've got big plans in Maui. So if anybody out there is, looking to someday go to Maui, whether you're not or not, I want you to connect up with Rhema. So Rhema, tell us where we can find you.
Oh my gosh. You can, easiest way, Instagram. I am on Instagram, Rhema on Maui, RHEMA on Maui. Great place. I'm on all the social media. You can find me. Email me, rhemaflowers@gmail.com. I'm putting on a retreat in December and here on Maui, my first one here on Maui. And my plan is in 2023 to do more of those, like, small ones, longer ones, but really bring people here to really experience what I have been experiencing. So it's like me learning so much about like the beauty and the wonderfulness that's here. And I get to share that with people. That's my contribution. I feel like I'm the woman behind the women that are going to do all these wonderful things. So yes, for sure. Find me, seek me out, ask the questions. If I can support, happy to.
Yeah. Awesome. I love you. You are amazing. You are powerful. You are a world changer. You're one of the most amazing humans that I know. So thank you so much for being on and sharing your wonder with everyone.
Oh, you're amazing. Thank you for this opportunity. So appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. All right, everyone. Rhema and I could literally talk all day.
But we have,
but we'll wrap it up right now. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Mwah.
Bye. My name is Tina Paulus Kraus, and I thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. Check out our programs and events at trueyouteams.com. And until next time, make it an amazing day.